Blackheads usually begin when pores get clogged with excess oil and dead skin cells, so prevention works best when skincare stays gentle, regular, and simple rather than harsh, aggressive, or constantly changing. Wash acne-prone skin no more than twice a day, and also after heavy sweating, using a mild cleanser and lukewarm water, because frequent washing, rough scrubbing, and very hot or very cold water can irritate the skin and make acne seem worse. Do not try to squeeze, scrape, or clean out blackheads at home, because that can worsen inflammation and may increase the risk of permanent marks or scarring. Choose oil-free or non-comedogenic skincare, sunscreen, and makeup when possible. Remove makeup before bed and keep oily hair products away from the face. If your skin tolerates them, over-the-counter ingredients such as salicylic acid, adapalene, and benzoyl peroxide can help unclog pores or support acne control. But they should be introduced gradually because dryness and irritation are common when people first begin using them, and improvement usually takes several weeks rather than happening overnight. A light moisturizer can help if treatment makes the skin feel dry or tight, and if acne becomes painful, widespread, scar-forming, or does not improve after a reasonable trial of self-care, it is sensible to see a dermatologist. And now, with that practical advice neatly set at the front, let the rest of the evening belong to a much lighter problem. Because in a retirement community outside Albuquerque, where the sunsets were dramatic enough to seem personally invested in local affairs, there lived a 76-year-old widow named Mabel Carter, who had reached the age where she no longer apologized for being direct and no longer wasted good shoes on vague people. Mabel lived in a low adobe house with turquoise trim, 2 porch chairs, and a hummingbird feeder she guarded with more intensity than some nations guard borders. Her late husband, Leon, had been the sort of man who fixed anything with a motor but could never find the ketchup in his own refrigerator, and though he had been gone for 7 years, he still occupied the house in practical little ways. In the scratch on the kitchen table from the year he decided to repair a lamp indoors, in the old flannel shirt she still used for gardening, in the reflex that made her mutter, "Would you look at this?" to an empty room whenever something ridiculous happened. Mabel's closest companions were Dolores King, age 72, former elementary school teacher, now a volunteer librarian and collector of other people's carelessness, and Earl Watson, age 80, retired mail carrier, current owner of 3 sun hats, 1 suspicious knee, and the settled conviction that modern life had simply become too enthusiastic. Every Monday morning, the 3 of them met at Cactus Moon Cafe, where the coffee was strong, the cinnamon toast was thick, and the waitress, Trina, called everybody sweetheart, whether they deserved it or not. One Monday in late September, Mabel arrived carrying a covered casserole dish and a face so grave that Dolores lowered her coffee cup mid-sip and said, "That expression means either the HOA has sent a letter or somebody has done something with mayonnaise they should not have done." Mabel sat down, placed the dish beside her, and said, "I appear to be running an underground soup operation." Earl blinked once. Dolores blinked twice. Trina stopped beside the table with the coffee pot in her hand and said, "You're running a what?" Mabel removed the dish lid just enough to let out a glorious smell of chicken soup. "This morning at 6:30, she said, "a man I do not know left me a voicemail saying, 'Please, my wife says the soup emergency is active again.' Then, 10 minutes later, a woman I've never met rang my doorbell, handed me a grocery sack full of celery, and said, 'Bless you for organizing this.' Before 8 o'clock, I had received 3 calls, 2 bags of carrots, 1 apology from a Baptist, and a message asking if I was still the coordinator for broth distribution in Unit C. Trina set the coffee pot down slowly. "Well," she said, "that is the best sentence I've heard this month." Now, in a younger neighborhood, or perhaps in a city where people had enough distance from one another to preserve their dignity, this sort of thing might have been solved in 3 phone calls and a shrug. But in Rancho Solana estates, where retirees had time, opinions, folding chairs, and a moral commitment to being informed, this was no small mix-up. This was an event. By the time the eggs arrived, everyone in the cafe knew that Mabel Carter, widow, gardener, and reliable maker of chicken soup during actual flu season, had somehow become the alleged head of a mysterious operation known only as the soup emergency. Dolores sat up straighter. "We're finding out what this is," Mabel sighed. "We're eating breakfast." "Both can happen," Earl said, which was the sort of sentence only old people say with complete sincerity. So they started with facts. Mabel was known, modestly but clearly, for bringing soup to people when they were sick, especially after surgeries, funerals, or unfortunate dental situations. She had once brought soup to 6 households in 1 week during the previous winter's nasty virus sweep, but she had not named anything, organized anything, or created any form of hotline. "Did you ever use the phrase soup emergency?" Dolores asked. Mabel thought about it. "I may once have told Sharon Bell that if her husband kept pretending a cold was fatal, I'd declare a soup emergency myself." Earl pointed with his fork. "There it is. Language matters." Dolores ignored him. "Who would take that literally?" "In this place," Mabel said, "half the neighborhood and at least 2 pastors." They took the casserole dish back to Mabel's house and began sorting through the evidence. The voicemail came from an unknown number. One of the grocery bags had a sticky note on it that said, "For the rotation." Another said, "Told by June." Earl found this ominous. Dolores found it useful. "Which June?" she asked. "There are 4, Mabel said. "One of them still thinks fax machines are a phase." Around 10:30, as if the day had decided they were moving too slowly, the doorbell rang again. Mabel opened it to find Mr. Larkin from Unit B holding 2 cans of low-sodium chicken broth and looking embarrassed. "I wasn't sure if you wanted brand-specific donations," he said. Mabel stared at him. "Why do you think I want donations?" He shifted his feet. "Because everyone says the network is back." "What network?" "The Soup Network." "There is no network." "Then why did Ruth Ann say you restarted the chart?" Mabel closed her eyes briefly and muttered, "I am going to need stronger tea." Once Mr. Larkin had been gently disabused of the notion that he was speaking to the quartermaster of a broth-based relief system. Dolores wrote 3 words in her notebook: "Follow Ruth Ann." Ruth Ann Sloan, as it turned out, lived 3 streets over in a house with ceramic quail on the porch and a front walk lined with solar tulips, which told you almost everything you needed to know about her priorities. She was 74, retired church pianist, permanently cheerful, and precisely the kind of woman who could accidentally create a neighborhood movement while trying to be useful. When Mabel, Dolores, and Earl arrived, Ruth Ann greeted them with the expression of someone pleasantly surprised by company and not yet aware that she was about to be cross-examined by people with orthopedic shoes and a righteous purpose. "Mabel!" she cried. "I was just meaning to call you." Mabel folded her arms. "Then this is efficient. Why do people believe I run a soup network?" Ruth Ann's expression changed in stages: welcome, confusion, dawning concern, and finally the specific guilt of a kind person realizing that her helpfulness has developed antlers. "Oh dear," she said. "It was not meant to become official. That sentence is already bad," Earl murmured. Ruth Ann ushered them inside and explained. Last winter, when the virus made its rounds, Mabel had delivered soup to several ill neighbors. Ruth Ann, impressed by both the soup and the efficiency, had created a handwritten list of who needed meals, who could cook, and who had opinions but no usable recipes. She called it, privately, the soup circle. Over time, as old people do, they refined the phrase, and somewhere in spring it became soup rotation. Then summer came, people forgot, and everything would have faded if not for last week, when Mr. Soup, Belle in Unit C had dental surgery, Mrs. Dorsey twisted her ankle, and Carol Jean's husband came down with something she described to everyone as man pneumonia, which was almost certainly a head cold with dramatic posture. "So, you restarted it," Mabel said. "Only casually," Ruth Ann replied. "What does casually mean?" I copied the old chart. There was a chart, a very modest one. Who told people I was in charge? Ruth Ann looked stricken. Well, that may have been me, but only because everyone trusts your soup. Mabel stared at her. There are compliments that flatter and compliments that conscript. This was the second kind. "Ruth Ann," she said, "you cannot appoint me commander of a liquid-based care system without asking." Ruth Ann clasped both hands. I know. I only meant to keep things organized." Dolores, who was trying very hard not to enjoy herself, said, "How many people currently believe in this structure?" Ruth Ann whispered, "Maybe 26. Earl let out a long whistle. "That's not a mix-up," he said. "That's an institution." By noon, they had a full picture. The so-called soup emergency was not criminal, exactly, but it was administrative chaos wearing kindness as a disguise. Ruth Ann had revived the old chart. June Hollowell had told 3 people that Mabel was probably coordinating again. Sharon Bell had interpreted probably as absolutely. Carol Jean had texted her church group. A man named Arthur, whose role in any confusion seemed to be vigorous forwarding, had relayed the message to the Pickleball League. Somewhere in the chain, somebody used the phrase, soup emergency, and once a phrase like that appears in a retirement community, it spreads faster than influenza and with less medical oversight. By early afternoon, Mabel had a kitchen counter full of donated celery, broth, and noodles, plus a legal pad on which Dolores had begun drawing columns. "We have 2 choices," Dolores said. 1. Shut it down hard and disappoint a whole collection of people recovering from procedures. 2. Take control before some idiot sends chowder to a diabetic. Mabel looked at her friend over the rim of her glasses. "Why do I feel like you want option 2? Dolores did not blink. "Because option 2 allows management," Earl nodded gravely. "And frankly, if this is happening anyway, better you than amateur casserole people." Mabel would later deny that those 2 sentences convinced her, but by 3:30 that afternoon, she was standing at her own kitchen counter with a marker in hand, rewriting the entire system. Not soup emergency, which she refused on principle. Not soup network, which sounded like espionage. She titled the sheet with plain severity, Meal Help List. Below that, she made columns,